Our next distinguished speaker is a 20-year veteran of wireless and IT infrastructure and the author of RTLS for Dummies. He's responsible for the vision, wireless LAN solutions, and product strategy at Meru Networks. He has been instrumental in crafting the vision of Meru SDN Wi Fi and leading the engineering and product teams to success. His presentation is on SDN and Wi Fi, and please join me in welcoming the Senior Vice President of Worldwide Engineering and Products at Meru, Ajay Malik. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for coming here. I know Tech Field Day has been over 5 years working with the Wi-Fi, and you guys are very knowledgeable in Wi-Fi and networking. And I want to share something about what we are doing, what we are, and what SDN Wi-Fi is all about. But I want this session to be very interactive. The idea is I want to learn, and I want to be interactive beyond this session also. I want to learn like what you think, how we should do, and give us some more help and guidance. Right? We work together to define and move into the right direction. Right? We have taken one direction, and we believe that by doing SDN and by doing open flow, wired and wireless unified networking, we are trying to establish something new. Right? I think there were some presentations by Extreme Networks and other folks also in last Tech Field Day also. Right? So you will see some more. Right? And you will. I want whatever your frank opinion, feel free to stop me at any point of time. All right. So these are the enterprise IT drivers everybody knows, right? Nothing new. Wi-Fi has become the primary network, right? BYOD is happening. Recently, like about 6 weeks back, there was a study, I think from University of British Columbia, that the students are carrying like 7 Wi-Fi devices. And that's a lot, right? I try to count. I have a phone, iPad, right? And there is some other devices, but then you have printers, Xbox, V, and suddenly you start seeing the dorm has a lot of devices. Students do have devices which are part of the network, which are part of their daily life, right? And cloud is becoming very big. Every application, we ourselves, and I'm sure in your organizations, a lot of people are using a lot of applications from cloud. Right, we use a lot of applications in cloud within Meru also, and in my past jobs also. And Internet of Things, well, Cisco is making it big. We all know that, right? Cisco is behind it. But we also know that it is so important, right? Connecting, locating devices, the building automation, asset tracking, the Bluetooth LE, Apple talking about iBeacon. A lot of things are happening in that space, which is also putting pressure on the enterprise. And when you see all this happening, right? And I want to talk about like why the SDN Wi-Fi becomes important, right? The experience of user is not just dependent upon the wireless network. You know, we all do a good job in, and everybody does it different, maybe different algorithms, but we all do some kind of air traffic control. We do some kind of air time fairness. We do all control of the Wi-Fi quality. But the fact is, whenever like you are using any Wi-Fi device, it is going with through the AP and through a wired switch. And somewhere there is always, the traffic is always going over wired and wireless. So when you are, for example, you have the perfect Wi-Fi and somebody is running, say, BitTorrent session on the wired switch right behind it, the wireless experience will not be as good. It just won't work because the network has to be, quality of service has to be consistent across the network. Or if you have 100 switches behind the network here and there in the wire, even if you have a good wireless quality, the experience will not be as good. And all the application servers like the Outlook Exchange and many other servers, they are sitting in the wired closet. And the connectivity, the experience needed again is through the wireless to the wired all the way. If you see this, then you realize immediately that what is needed is a control on the network completely. When the Wi-Fi, you know, I'm a Wi-Fi company, I have been in Wi-Fi companies before, and all Wi-Fi companies, we established as overlay networks. We were all on the top of wired to make wireless work. And we were making the Wi-Fi work, we were making Wi-Fi secure, right? When the web came, then WPA1 came, WPA, we were focused on those things, then we were focusing on Rogue, all those things. And now as the focus moves on SLAs and quality of service, that is where people need the control across. And if you see, Gartner did this. In 2012, when Gartner said that the wired and wireless quadrant, they merged it. I think that was a pretty smart move. I really think Gartner was envisioning what people want to do today, right? And they were saying that if you do not have control on the wired and wireless network, does not really work. The enterprises must choose infrastructure from the vendors who can provide both, right? So they made a good case for companies doing wired and wireless together. And the reasoning is, actually the way I see it now, the reasoning is at that time, SDN was not invented. Well, SDN was invented. You know, SDN was invented 2006. Martin Casado, his company got bought by VMware, right? And he was working on it. Then in 2008, the open flow concept started coming up. People started figuring it out. SDN term was coined by the MIT doing a review for the these papers like what you are doing is software-defined networking. And then, you know, a lot of investments by NEC in open flow. NEC has been one of the big companies investing a lot of money in open flow. And then HP put a big push. HP championed open flow. And right now they claim that they have over 15 million ports open flow enabled and things like that. And then NEC became the first open flow certified wired company. And then we became the open flow wireless certified company this year. If you see all this, right, let me just explain a little bit more, going into more technology, and please feel free to stop me, any questions. So this is a typical network, right? You have wired devices, wireless device, you have wired devices, wireless devices, clients, all kind of devices in the network, right? And when you want to configure anything, you have to do CLI or SNMP or scripts to each device independently. Or you can write some good scripts, or you can use some good management softwares to manage it, right? SolarWinds, and there are many companies provide softwares. It can be done. So one thing is, the network can be programmed and managed. That's why the network is working today. It's not that without SDN, the network is falling apart, right? Network works today, right? But it's just more effort. And with the cloud happening, with more mobile devices, more applications happening, the IT people have to keep configuring it. They have to enable, like when we first put Microsoft Link in Meru, there was an effort by our IT department to make the link work, and they had to test it, verify the link is working, and things like that. And these are the things, there is a lot of effort. And then they open group by group, or for people, they give different prioritization and things like that. Now, just going back into any network device, right? Whether a switch or a router or a controller, standard, nothing new. Everybody, and I'm sure, knows this, right? This is our networking 101. You have a forwarding plane, control plane, and a management plane. Management plane is all CLI, SNMP, Web UI, HTTP, some REST API, some interface to manage the box. Then you have the control plane. These are the protocols running, boxes talking to each other and figuring it out. What's the best way when packets come in and out. And forwarding plane is the one which is using either ASICs or fast data path or software only, how packet goes in and out, right? This has been, if you see this, each box is intelligent in itself. Each box is making a lot of decisions based on the configuration and what it learns from the peer boxes. What happens in SDN? You have a separate piece of software, SDN controller, which talks to the network element with a new protocol, open flow. As I said, not really new now, right? And then the API is exposed to the forwarding plane directly. Basically, what we are doing is, you are controlling, so there is a common control plane element controlling every device. So you have a single point to control, then you will see it as a single point of failure, and I will talk about it, like how that works. But the whole idea is, and I think for Wi-Fi people, this makes even a lot more sense. That's how our Wi-Fi controller has been always. The Wi-Fi switch or Wi-Fi controller, WLAN controller, manages all the APs, every packet coming in, every control. We control it and make sure what the path will take, and every QoS that will be decided, whether it's WM, anything you decide, it's through the controller deciding it at every AP level. We do that. And same thing, but at any device level, generic level. What that happens now is the network, there is a new element added, SDN controller. This SDN controller is now can actually program every device. It has the holistic view. It makes the network programmable. So if you see this sounds like a lot of technical jargon. Very engineering, right? Looks like, is it really for the customers? Is it really for businesses? Or is it more another engineering thing? And then the fear comes, will this SDN go away? Is it a fad like RFID, passive RFID came with a big bang, or WiMAX, right? Something like that. But once you start seeing what SDN does and how it is relevant and how it can add value, even if every device in the world does not support SDN, you will see that it's much different from the other place. And let me talk about this little bit. So what happens now is, in the wireless LAN controller, you enable the open flow, or you enable the open flow in the AP. Once you enable this, basically you are saying every flow. So every flow that goes from the client through the AP or through the controller can be now programmed by somebody else. So it's no more a decision for the controller. So basically you are taking some brains, you can, out of the controller, or you can build extra brains or extra applications, extra modules outside. So all the features which we talk in wireless world, intercontroller roaming or this or that, DPI, everything that can be built at a different level now. And you run it there. And the good part is when you do it like this, you are actually, because you don't care whether it's a wireless device or a wired device, they are all becoming same. So you are doing it at a very agnostic way. Am I making sense? So if you see, the biggest advantage, immediate advantage you get is unified wired wireless. Why? Because now you have the visibility at the same level at every flow. And you will see this theme in all the applications, all the ideas which people are talking about, we are talking about. Everything becomes just at a unified network. It's no more you talk about wired or wireless. So you can actually see from what you do from client to AP. And when you are debugging, you're doing any diagnostics, you're doing anything. You can see everything from client to AP to switch to controller, another switch. Every segment of the network is visible. And that makes a huge difference. Every segment is clearly visible at a high level. And it's vendor agnostic. What that means is puts the innovation at the right place. Now we can put focus on innovation in the AP, the radio, right? With the things that need to be done, the protocols there, right? We can put the focus like, 11AC talking about if I want to do bandwidth, or I want to do the power at each transmit level, right? Anything, if you want to add, everything can be added, and that becomes the differentiator or the performance. But the network visibility, and to manage every vendor, it's no more vendor specific. Everything is generic, everything can be done. And those are the things which get enabled, and that's what we call applications, right? So the SDN controller is a piece of software written by many, many companies. There is open source softwares. ODL, Open Daylight is one of the example. There are, Cisco actually took the Open Daylight and is building Epic EM, which is based on ODL. Then you have Juniper has it, HP has it, NEC has it. All these companies are building. And you know why they are building? Their vision is again the same for all of them, that the functionality of network and the value, the user experience and the business value we want to get out of the network, that we want to expose. And that will be through the applications. So the hardware does not have to put so much intelligence in the hardware itself. And that makes it pretty unique and makes it pretty extensible. So if you see in the summary, right, with SDN Wi Fi, what you achieve, right, the holistic visibility of the wired and wireless network. You don't have to worry about the vendor lock-in. You can actually manage predictable quality of service across the network. You can do insight and analytics again across the network, right? And you know what? I'm not just saying enterprise network. It's across the full network. You can see, right, the companies like Big Switch and others which are in the core, right? It's across the network. This is the only thing that is taking from the edge, from your iPhone, iPad, Samsung, whatever device you have, to all the way to the core, every application server running there. And that visibility and that control on that quality of service, that is what SDN gives you. And that's the biggest advantage. I actually believe the unified wireless, a lot of people say, is SDN, I'm sure people have heard about it, and if you Google, you will find it. Is SDN looking for a problem to solve? And probably it was maybe a few years back. But for the unified wired wireless, that is a genuine problem. That is a genuine problem of our enterprise that needs to be solved. I think that is the problem which SDN solves well, and it solves really well. And it solves it completely end-to-end. I have some examples of some SDN applications for the unified network, and you will like collaboration, reliable collaboration. We have released one, we are working with Microsoft, we have released one application, Meru Collaborator. I think we have a demo there, and so that you will see like how it application enables Microsoft Link, working consistent quality of service, manipulating the bandwidth, or anything can be managed. Right? Or the energy management. Energy management has been a common thing. People have been doing it through management softwares, but now it can be done at a network level, looking at it, right? If the wireless is not in use, and if you know that there is nobody going to reach there, you can turn off the PoE or things like that. Or the rate adaptation, Wi-Fi. The WAN pipes are limited, right? You go to concerts, you go to big exhibitions, number of people who are using the Wi-Fi, the rate has to be under control. How to control the rate based on the WAN pipe. We had a recent, as a Meru also, I'm sure every company has this, we had a recent exhibition at ISTE, and there were over 13,000 users, everybody using Wi-Fi, and the 1 gig pipe of AT&T, that got choked. And when that got choked, the rate has to be brought down for the max rate where the people can connect. And those are the things, because you have the visibility at the wire and wireless level, at that level you can manage this. And that is the benefit when you have the unified network. More location analytics applications, BYOD security applications, traffic control, traffic optimization. We have an application where you can do flow-based bridging. When the flow is coming to the AP, and if you are going through the controller, there is no need to, if the SDN controller can see that, hey, this flow can be optimized, right? When you are doing a bonjour session, it doesn't need to go through all the way to the controller. We can have a U-turn at the AP. Things like that, all the traffic optimization can be done because somebody is looking at and manipulating at the flow level. There is some market research data. I thought I will just put a couple of slides. This is very recent data from IDC, right? The SDN market is growing at like about 90% CAGR. Year over year, and this is their study, right? Time will tell how it goes, but the key thing is the value is to the user, value is to the customer, and the customer will get the user experience, they will get the more business value out of their network. That is what will drive it. And actually they also say that applications revenue will increase, and application CAGR they see a little bit higher than the regular SDN CAGR, and the reason is applications will drive more and more revenue, right, in this space. People will write applications. Last year, a lot of money was put by VC funding in SDN applications, a lot of startups in that. And the reason is this. When last year we started SDN, our main reason was how we make the experience for the customers better. Because the customers, I don't make wired in Meru, but the key thing is not just about Meru. Any wireless player, how it will work better with other wired players and how you give the unified network. That was the theme behind it, and that's where we are, right? Just summarizing what I was saying, Bami also mentioned this, SDN started with data center, Google, Facebook, they all need it. It's so obvious to manage the data center, all the switches, the flows, the SDN is the best thing, right? But the SDN is also the only way to achieve unified wired wireless network across the enterprise campus so that it doesn't get logged in with any vendor. And OpenFlow is the only standard. I don't know whether OpenFlow will remain the only standard. I don't know whether in future OpenFlow will be the standard, right? However, here is the thing, it doesn't matter, right? It has to be one standard, open standard, which people adopt. And a lot of adoption is happening. There are good signs. Most companies are into it, are supporting OpenFlow. So there is high chance that OpenFlow will be successful. But even if not, think it like this. If Meru supports OpenFlow and HP supports, or some other company supports or not support, think it like this. The SDN controller can do one thing. SDN controller can write some adapters, can write it, and then manage those devices. The concept of having the programmable forwarding plane is the concept which is making the difference, which is why enabling all the applications and all the businesses. Am I making sense? Any questions around this? I think that's my last slide. It's pretty easy. Actually, it's, sometimes I feel it's too simple. It's like SDN is not complicated. It's like when you implement the protocol, it is just, it's the thought process that has gone in simplifying the network. And then it just introduces automation, agility. You can do everything, right? And once that, once you feel that, you can take it to any level.
Quick question. Looking, one of the glaring thoughts that came to my mind when I considered SDN in a wireless network is now you have really two points of control. You have your wireless controller, and then you have your SDN controller. Where do you see long-term, where do you see that kind of falling out? And do you see the long-term, do we see this becoming a situation where the wireless, the purpose of the wireless controller goes away? I
actually see that in long-term. I do see that the wireless controller actually becomes just an application on SDN controller. I do see that. I think this will happen, right? Will it happen immediate? Probably not, right? But it will happen. It will move into that direction because you don't want 2 points of control. But by adding OpenFlow on WLAN controller itself, it has removed that point of control. We can do everything from SDN controller, everything today because it is giving you control. What you cannot do is the Wi-Fi management part. Right, like configuring the SSIDs, the profiles, the policies, and things like that. Now you will be able to do that also. That has to happen. That's the only thing.
So on a follow-up, just to be certain, are you really managing the controller with OpenFlow, or are you also managing the APs then?
APs also, completely, yes. And you will see more. And OpenFlow can be implemented directly in the APs, right? I don't have a controllerless AP, but same concepts. You can do that.
With everyone talking about everything cloud, do you see potentially cloud-based controllers as opposed to premise-based controllers for SDN?
Yes, I think. I actually think that that's one of the cool startup ideas, right? Because. And it makes more sense, right? When the SDN controller is in the cloud, you know Meraki, other companies who are doing cloud, right? They're good, right? They have good software, good solution, right? And it works, right? But it becomes little proprietary again, right? And what this does is it makes it generic, right? And I want that, right? I want the AP at my home, the AP at my brother's home. Everything could be managed easily on other devices. And that will happen by pushing this there.
Not to sound overly cliche of with great power comes great responsibility, but what's stopping whoever makes the controller from essentially freezing out or making other switch vendors, wireless vendors, et cetera, essentially second-class citizens as compared to their own equipment being controlled by that controller?
Can you repeat your question a little bit?
Sure. If I have vendor A's SDN controller that sits in my network, what's to stop that vendor from essentially making all of the other equipment that's not the same vendor perform poorly as compared to their own?
Yes. Yes, so you know what?
Huawei and some of their previous history.
Yes, right. So, it does. Like with the SDN controller, it will come with great responsibility, people building it. I think, but the way it is happening is a lot of companies are behind it. There are consortiums working around it. Not only that, there are companies, certification lab companies who are working to keep the things under control, right? One of the lab companies is here also. Actually, you will see them in the booth, Criterion Lab Networks. They are also focusing and building more interoperability and the performance checks and balance. Some checks and balance will be needed to make sure that don't perform poorly. But if you look, these are, if Open Daylight and all, they are open source. So, I think those kind of, it will become the Linux. It is the Linux license and it will move in the Linux direction. And then when something moves in the Linux direction, it doesn't work that way. You have to do everything better. Otherwise, you cannot be successful.
I have a question relating to applications. So you mentioned that wireless has had the idea of controllers and being able to push flows to the edge for a long time now, and so that part of SDN isn't really new to them. Do you see SDN and wireless being more of a way to do application recognition at the edge for policy classification and things like that? Or are you still looking at it from a purely operational perspective where you're saying, well, we're just going to replace CapWAP with OpenFlow now?
No, first, I'm more focused on the application side. I actually see the SDN will add so much, it will increase the velocity. All the ideas, and trust, I'm sure everybody has so many ideas. If this could be done, it will be cool, right? If this could be done. And there are so many ideas in Wi-Fi space. Last time when I was talking about this in Barcelona in our partner summit, and people were like running with ideas that this is what I want, these are the applications, right? And that application velocity, until now, we were kind of stuck. Everybody was kind of stuck. The applications had to be added in the controller, or if they were not inside the controller, it won't work. It won't work with anybody, and then it becomes all proprietary, right? And with this, more applications will start coming. Ideas will come to fruition much faster. I think this will expedite innovation in the wireless world. And wired world, of course, it's happening.